everybody, this is your favorite realtor Norm, and I'm coming to you today with a powerful presentation from my good friend Sam Richardson over at It's All Good. Sam, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me today. Appreciate it, man. You are my favorite realtor.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I've learned so much from working with you and being part of your business.
We're very good at, hey, we found these things, or hey, we set some stuff aside, or, we found some things in the house we thought you may want to know about this. So we've got really high integrity, and that's what we hire off of because...
I think you're talking about finding valuables or maybe cash.
Exactly, yeah. So whether it's, we've found just about everything, right? Imagine as an individual like myself having to go in and literally thumb through every single thing in a home. It's overwhelming. It oftentimes does get overlooked, and we're literally getting rid of, in most cases, everything, right? So we have found cash in between books before. I found, $20,000 one time in a vase that was buried underneath a plant. Like the plant was in there, but I was like, this is heavier than a normal plant. So we really do try to go do our due diligence and make sure that we find the things that the family would appreciate.
Thank you for sharing that. That brings up a good question. When you do find a valuable item like cash or jewelry, do you stop and notify the executor, like with a phone call? Or once someone hires you, are you checking in every day? What does that look like?
Yeah, of course. Well, I will preface by saying that projects don't have to be one day. A lot of times the pace is often a little slower, especially when the family members are still involved in the process of kind of downsizing the estate. However, often when the adult heirs or by the time it gets to us, the family members are just trying to get the property sold. In that case, it usually is a one-day event. So that being said, there's a lot going on that day. We usually have anywhere from teams of 6 to 12 people inside the house at one time. And if we find something such as cash, we often find firearms. I think a lot of us have old firearms in our families that are maybe valuable to our families. Anytime we come across firearms, jewelry, anything that's just cash, we always, kind of have a moment where everybody pauses. Hey, everyone out of the room. Let's bring the beneficiary or whoever it is inside the room. We want them to see it where it lies, and then we want to make sure that they know that we found it. And then at that point, there'll be a chance to, hey, okay, continue working. All the things we find from this area. At this point, we're going to set in this area or this pile or whatever. We did this recently where we had the beneficiary, the adult child, was actually just sitting at the dining room table. And we were bringing just grocery bags after grocery bags filled with money. And she was sitting there, had a whole counting set up, but she ended up counting, I think it was over $10,000 just while we were doing our job. Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe a silver lining to a cloudy day. How does it work if you find personal photos or personal papers, legal documents? Same way or?
Yeah, really good question. I will say there's another tier to working in an estate and downsizing. And oftentimes if there's let's say the mail has gotten out of hand and there's just lots and lots of mail. Yeah. We often recommend in those cases maybe a professional organizer coming in, somebody who has time to sit there and thumb through individual mail, make sure that no bills are being overlooked, or God forbid, maybe even some a 401k account that nobody knew existed. Obviously, these are really important things that our team will not do. So we're not going to literally go through and thumb through documents every single. What we're really good at is kind of what we call spot checking, right? So I'm going to open up the folder and say, okay, this looks like it's just maybe taxes from 1997, right? Not important anymore. It goes into the shred pile. But if we open up something and it's like a deed to a house, right? Like our team is trained on what do deeds look like. What do the passports, social security things, right? Yeah. Anything that's got a bank's name on it. So there's a lot of things that we are very good at spot checking, and we don't really review them. I don't know what they are. I just know that that's important, and we'll set them aside. This is always the case for photo albums. Anytime we find anything that looks like personal photo albums, always set aside. Even when families tell us everything goes, we look through everything, we know everything's. We still do it. It's a habit of ours because we just simply you can't ever get those back, right? So we never want to make a mistake in that area. And so anything personal to the family, especially personal items like photos and anything that's got names on it, sometimes like plaques with awards or certificates or people's degrees. We just really like for the family to take one last screening to make sure we're doing what we should do.
Yes, that makes sense. When you were talking about finding the documents, I heard you mention the word shredding, and I was curious, do you offer shredding services? Are you shredding on site? Well, what does that look like?
Yeah, we've got a shredding partner that we use. We actually had to come across this so often that we thought it was just beneficial. We know some really great shredding people in the area that will either, one, depending on the quantity, come to the home and shred on site, or if that's important. Otherwise, we do what's called the off-site secure shredding. So we take the shredding, make sure it's very clearly marked, and then we take it to a secure place where we shred it all within a facility that's locked and stored. So that's a little bit of a lower cost option for people who maybe just want the old taxes from the 1990s taken away. but they still don't want us to just throw it away.
That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. And most of my clients are wondering, what's going to happen with their paperwork that they were caretakers of. Everybody, Sam does a great job. I can definitely recommend him. And regarding real estate, remember, questions, concerns, hallucinations, call Norm.